Hey, welcome to the Really Charlie podcast. I'm Charlie Perry, and my guest here is Robert Mendes. And this has been a long time coming. And I just want to, before I go, actually, I'm going to do an intro, right? Because I'm going to tell you why I reached out to my big cousin here to get on the show. But Robert Mendes is a marriage and family therapist with over 30 years of experience in Christian based marriage, individual, and family counseling with a master's degree in family therapy and Eastern Nazarene College from Quincy, Mass. He has functioned as a social service supervisor and human service manager, as well as a certified sex offender treatment provider in the states of Virginia, California, and Massachusetts, where he was born and began his career. He is also a pastor for Praise Chapel Christian Fellowship, where he was ordained in 1997 and pioneered as a church plant for 11 years in the state of Virginia. He and his beautiful wife, Analina, currently, as I call Anna, currently co-facilitate marriage seminars and have 4 adult children and several grandchildren. His vast and varied experience has provided him with great insight and perception, which is evident in this first book, The Jonah Project, which is right here. Things have changed. On the back of this cover, we have the insert, and let me tell you about getting him on here. This is he's been my kin mentor and has been, a friend. He's really a friend. That friend, someone you could call, count on, and do different things with. Well, that's where he is, along with being my caring relative. So I got inspired to write I got inspired by another pastor, and that's Reverend David Spencer. And he just said, why don't you pray? And he wrote a song, and I just started thinking about it, and it stuck with me. It stuck with me so much that it was like an earwig, like you hear a song and it stays with you. But it was his words that just stood with me, and I started thinking about it. And then I wrote about it. And then I did my thing, and on AI got the thing, the music going, and I liked it. I truly liked it. And then I started thinking. I said, "Man, Robert's in town. I need to get him on here." And between both of them at the same time, I said, "I can get him on now. He's here in town. This would be great. I can get him on the podcast. If it's part 1, part 2, part 3, whatever it has to be." But I'm just glad that my cousin's here.
Glad to be here.
Yeah. So things have changed, and according to the back of the book. And so what has changed for you since then?
Oh, a lot. I was living in California when I had wrote the book.
Mm-hmm.
Now I live part-time in Florida and part-time here in Bedford. Okay. This is first year I've retired, so I'm here for like 5 months right now. So it's a good thing.
That's 5 good months for me. I'm glad that you're close by. Because it's always nice seeing you, your family, and you guys being the strong foundation and base of your family. With you being here, guess what? I get to see your kids. I get to see the grandkids, because they're gonna come see you.
Definitely.
So we can, over the years we haven't seen too much of each other. So it's good that we're all close by.
Yeah. Actually, originally left New Bedford in 91.
Wow.
So I haven't really lived here for a long period of time since 1991. It's been about 34 years.
Yeah, that's wow. That was almost the beginning of my police career, and here I am, unretired. So that's how long you've been away.
Yeah.
The retirement has been good for me. if you want to call it retirement. I mean, I'm still doing my part-time work. Driving a school bus van. I love it. And there's one thing, I always got to do something with driving. I don't know what it is with me, but it's something I like. And most of the time, I like to have children related to the spectrum, and they're just so. There's one thing about it, they go through a lot in life, right? And there's some kind of deficiency, but you know what? Every morning I get a smile. Ever since I've been driving a bus, I get a smile. How you doing? Happy. And then, I think back, like in the morning, like I might be upset, something bothering me. And then I get a great hello, sunshine hello from the students on my bus, whether it was Joe or Liam or Joshua now. There was something about them. And my monitor, Brittany, that I had, now I have my wife. And the thing is they come in and so full of sunshine. They have a lot going on in their life.
Right.
They could be upset, but they're not. So,
it's true.
Yeah.
I know. As a matter of fact, I worked with that population also. I was in California. They have what they call the Inland Regional Center that deals with autism. They deal with mental retardation, epilepsy, and like things like Fragile X syndrome, different things like that. I was a program manager with them for about 3 years as well in California. So
that's nice.
I can't go into all the rest because God has had me in so many different places.
Yeah, well, it chooses our path, right? And I'm just glad that you were there because I know you wasn't there just for yourself. You were probably there to help out others and learn to appreciate it. Both you and Anna. All right. I have a few questions, and I'm glad that we had a little mishap last week because I like what we're doing right now. So that there was a little monkey wrench in the mechanism, but this is a better podcast. We're here.
Definitely.
So the first off script, I just want to ask you, what drew you to being a pastor? What caught your attention?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I questioned that for quite a while. I was asking people, well, how do you know you're called? How do you know that type of thing? And I never got a direct answer from most people, pastors, from people. Well, they gave you answers like, well, you know, that doesn't help me, but I kind of really went to prayer about it because there were certain things where people were saying, you ought to be a pastor. And I began to pray about it, and a book in the Bible kind of pointed me in that direction. 1 Samuel chapter 3, where he was given by his mother Hannah to the priest to raise him. And when she raised him, he grew up in that household, and he heard the voice of God say to him, Samuel, and he went running to the prophet and the priest, and he says, you called me. He says, no, I didn't. Go back to sleep. And this happened 3 different times.
Wow. And
then on the 3rd time, he says, look, well, if he calls you again, say, here I am, your servant is listening. Basically that type of a thing. And several things that happened that made me realize, okay, God was saying to me, not only are you called, but I've been calling you, and you just didn't recognize it.
Wow.
So it was that type of a thing that drew me. And, was involved in various aspects of ministry. I became a Christian through the International Church in Nazarene. And, but yet, because I grew up in, making First Communion, confirmation as a Catholic and everything else, I was at that place where I just wanted to just know, okay, God, I want to know you as opposed to man's religion.
Mm.
And for me, it just took me on a different path altogether because I wanted to have everything that God had for me.
You know, that makes sense. And it's probably something that I need to do because lack of faith in some of the venues around here and religious spots has got me discouraged. And so that's something that I truly need to do.
Oh.
And so we'll be talking more about that.
Definitely.
The one of the things that you and I have mentioned today was about blind spots.
Yes.
And so what I want to do first is I want to make sure that everybody on Robert Mendes' Facebook is actually enjoying us too, because we are from the same family. However, we don't always have the same friends.
That's true.
Make sure that I share. So, press the one. It's a beautiful day out there.
Yes.
We enjoyed parts of it today. And not too much. The heat is really something that bothers me. So if I could stay nice and cool, I do.
Definitely. Makes sense.
So now we are on your page. So hopefully friends and family can see you now. Okay, perfect.
Excellent.
All right. So we talked briefly about blind spots, and some people have blind spots. Let's try to explain that.
Sure.
In your words.
And it kind of comes from the book, The Jonah Project. I had a chapter on blind spots. And the thing about the Jonah Project is that God kind of gave me this book when I was at kind of a place where I felt like I had plateaued spiritually. Wasn't going up, wasn't going down, just kind of leveled off. And he started to show me things in the book of Jonah about myself and things I had learned from being a therapist and counseling people. He started to show me some things. And one of the things was blind spots. Because I remember a clear incident where this is many years ago, but I was talking, I was feeling like, well, my wife was the only child. I was feeling like, well, she's kind of self-centered.
Mm-hmm.
And then God showed me a video. It was one of my birthdays, and it was all about me. And seeing that video, I said, what? She's not the one with the issue.
Mm-hmm.
I am. Wow. I was the one who was being self-centered. I was the one. So he said, this is a blind spot. You weren't even aware that you were doing this, and you were doing it. And so the issue of blind spots is something all of us have. We have areas in our life that, different environment or family or whatever has impacted, and like one area could be like my father was functionally illiterate.
Mm-hmm.
He could find his way, maps and everything else, but he didn't learn to read till my sister taught him way later on in life.
Wow.
And but I never knew that he couldn't even read.
Yeah, see that.
But I would get embarrassed if people would try and salesmen try to take advantage of him or try and do this or that. But that became one of my buttons, that if I was pushed where someone was demeaning or talking down to me, I would react strongly to that. Not lose it, but I would react in a way that let them know in no uncertain terms you're not going to claim me as a fool.
Yeah.
That type of a thing. So it
makes sense.
Yeah, but these are areas that until something happens, you're not really in tune with what's happening. Some people have blind spots related to being sexually abused or offenses that have happened and things like that. And so if somebody does something, it might even be their spouse that does something that triggers a response that says, wait a minute, what just happened here? You're the person involved, and you say, what just happened here? I didn't even know what happened. And I stepped on a minefield, and by touching the wrong subject or approaching something the wrong way. And sometimes they're not even aware of it, or I'm not aware of it, and it's a blind spot in the relationship.
Yeah, it's I had many people just instantly get angry or start crying.
Right.
Maybe get happy, but trigger like that. They were triggered, and so it was. So I can understand very clearly what you're talking about, and just had to adapt,
right,
to either make it go away or not make it go away, but kind of soothe it a little bit and go from there. But so blind spots. That's you might have inspired my next poem, man.
Oh, that's always good.
Yeah,
when something is inspired.
So let me go with a few questions that I had sent you earlier, and I just want to say thank you, everyone on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube for joining us. This is kind of a double thing, it's having a great guest on my podcast, and it also is some video footage of two family members, right? And keeping something available for our families to look at for years to come. So I just want to say thank you for viewing. Please like and subscribe to the channel on YouTube. I truly appreciate, and all your comments are very, very welcome and appreciated. So with over 30 years experience in marriage and family therapy, what do you believe are some of the most significant challenges facing couples and families today?
I think social media is one of the biggest areas that families are challenged in now that they weren't challenged in before. Sometimes people air their dirty laundry on social media, or they criticize the spouse, or they make their issue everybody's issue.
Yeah.
And you can't take that back once it's out there in the air, and the other part of that is that you're always comparing yourselves to other people. And I think that's the other thing, is that, they got it so much better than I do. Yeah. And people can begin to believe that and think, well, that person who's taken 100 pictures just to put that one post up, that's their normal.
Yeah.
When in reality is not a normal at all. And I think that's one of the biggest things that challenges families and marriages today.
Yeah, I agree. It is definitely taking over a lot of things, and people are trying to live up to the Joneses, and or like the Joneses, and then there's also something that we talk about on Frequency Live, the other podcast, is some people's perceptions are the reality, and
that's so true.
Yeah. So say hello to Michael. I appreciate you coming on and supporting us on YouTube. Let's see. Good answers, man. All right. How does your Christian perspective inform your approach to therapy? How do you balance faith and therapeutic practices? can't read that. My old man eyes here.
That's okay.
So how do you compare it between the faith-based or spiritual-based?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things you said also. You know, knowing when to interject something spiritually, especially when you're working in a secular realm.
Mm-hmm.
That you can't do that. Unless the person introduces the subject. And so when they introduce the subject, then you can talk about it freely.
Sure.
And that's kind of the way, what's always been the thing that guided me. I said, not to force what I believe on anybody else, but when somebody asks a question that it's obviously something spiritual that's affecting their lives, I believe God gives me insight and discernment to know how to respond to that. And I think that's where doing the Christian-based counseling or Bible-based counseling, whatever, is something that I felt like when I was working secular jobs, I was operating with one hand tied behind my back sometimes because I could not just delve into those areas. Yeah. But when I can do it in this kind of a setting, like I counseled a lot of pastors and their wives, I counseled a lot of people that grew up in the church and things like that. And so I've seen a lot, doing that. And I think my training in getting a master's degree in marriage and family therapy was a part of God's bigger plan. I think even when we were young, Cousin Calvin and I, we would sit on the corner in the block, around the West End Social Club and around that whole area. We'd be over there and we'd be analyzing people, just people watching. Yeah. And we'd be breaking them down and saying, well, you know what, he thinks this, but that's not really what's happening in that situation. But we were doing that before I had any kind of training at all.
Wow. Yeah.
And then going into college, I learned that I really helped somebody. And that was gratifying to me.
Yeah. It's amazing that like my Uncle Arnold, he always catches me. He says, hey, your eyes are going a mile a minute. You're looking here, you're looking there, and especially in the room. And but you're not losing focus in our conversation. And I would tell him, I said, I don't know. He said, that's the police officer in you. I said, yeah, I still do that, but I was doing that a long time ago. Just in the neighborhood, and that's why I tell everybody that I wouldn't trade any part of my life. I like to do it all over again. And just because of what it's done for me, good, bad, and ugly, but I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. Only because I appreciate a whole lot of things in my life right now. More so than anything is my family that I have. So
that's funny you say that, because one of the things that I know my own past and everything else is that my past has shaped me to become who I am now.
Yes.
And like you said, if you remove any piece of that, then you're not the same person. So,
we think alike, man. Anything, any moment, that you change, right? Just a moment. Say a moment in church when you're a teenager. Say something changed back then. When you met your wife, maybe that particular day.
Yeah.
The dating or whatever. Maybe something changes that day, and you guys never meet. So, and I talk about that all the time with, went through a lot with some of my relationships, but I'm glad they did everything they actually did to me. Every single thing, being
that's right,
loving, being unfaithful, whatever it may be. Thank you. because I wouldn't have the family I have today.
That's so true.
And so, all right. Thank you, man. This is a great interview. Look at this, Nathan Victor, my man.
Yeah, man, but Nathan.
constant supporter every single show. This is my man, Mr. Mendes. Thanks for being a positive mentor for me as a kid growing up and being the example, of course. Nathan Victor, I want to first say thank you.
Thank you, Nathan.
For supporting us. Thank you. Because your old soul makes you call Robert Mendes Mr. Mendes. And that's special. Goes to tells me a lot about that, when you say, where, there may be a woman, older woman, and her name may be Gail. You call her Miss Gail, and just because you don't know her last name, you know her name, Miss Gail. I just like that. It's so important.
Mm-hmm.
And Nathan, I'm glad that you are doing that and maintain that. Gordon Woodbury, another great member of our community, doing some great things, and he stole a piece of land from me. He did. No, I won't lie to a pastor. No, we did. He's doing something great down raffling off some land that he has, trying to give people an opportunity to build their legacy and leave something behind,
Mm-hmm.
and by owning a piece of land. And he's a good man.
I have to hear more about that.
Yeah, good. It's great. It's that was a great idea. Whoever told him about that and it probably was him. He's a very creative mind, and appreciate it. All right.
And I think one of the things too, like with someone, whether it's Nathan, whether it's other people that you come in contact with as a police officer, as a therapist, whatever. What I learned is I never approach somebody as I'm up here and you're down here.
Mm-hmm.
But looking at a person eye to eye, knowing that, what, even if they've taken a bad turn, I just say they go all right, but by the grace of God, I know that I can't just tell somebody, well, you're going to do this or you're going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like people at council that are on probation and everything else. I just say, you know what? I got to get to the root. Why are you doing this? And why are you doing that? What happened to you that caused you to feel like you had to operate in this mode?
True.
And I think that's just the way my mind typically works in those situations.
Yeah, I truly understand that, and did the same thing. I have a communications or conversation with anybody whatsoever that I came across in my life, and I didn't mind that, and I didn't want to judge anybody.
Yes.
And because it's can come back. You never know. You never know. The world is a very small place, and you never know who you encounter and leave a bad taste in their mouth, and then it comes back full circle. Right. So all right. Let me just check something here. Want to make sure that I share this on another page, and it's very important to both of us. That's our family page. I'd like to get some more members of our family on this podcast. Paula has been on it. Pina.
Oh, okay.
We had fun.
And we moved. I missed a lot of events that happened.
Yeah.
My wife and I were talking about going down the Cape. They said I'll have to have Charlie come.
Yeah. I don't
show us around.
So
used to be every weekend or almost every, at least once a month we were always down the Cape.
And it slowly changed. Now the hill isn't the hill. It's some huge changes up there, but that peanut blood up there, they have a good time there, and it's something that's usually You know, like David and
Oh, yeah.
Paul and Jojo, they just said, and Charlie, they do something, they meet up, and sister also, and they just basically enjoy each other.
That's great.
And so
It's important.
and Michelle Perry says she loves the cake. Yeah, she does. Over the in the years, especially in the beginning of our marriage and relationship, she always wanted to go and move to the Cape.
Mm.
I was always the reluctant one, and I just and then now, like right now, I really regret it not going, because that would have been something, because especially with us, different towns and scenes, and that would have been our go-to. Let's go for a ride. Yeah, let's go over here. We would have did that, and but we would only been a few miles away.
Similar for my wife and I when before we moved, whenever at least twice a year, we would make it a point to go away, just the two of us, so that we wouldn't forget who we were as a couple. Yeah. We have kids and everything else, and everything becomes about the children. But we would go away, and it's usually to Hyannis and that area where we'd go and spend some time, whether it was a weekend, a long weekend, or if we couldn't afford it at the time, just even for a day. Yeah. But just to get away from things and get back in touch with who we are. Because I think we can do that. We can lose touch with who we are or who we're becoming.
Yeah. I need to put that in my life, because we haven't gone on a trip together for a while. And it was either her or I, going different, whether it's me with friends or her with family, a wedding or whatever it may be. So, we definitely have to prepare for that and do that. Let's see. Let's see. Number 3 is, as a certified sex offender treatment provider, you've worked with sensitive and complex populations. What insights have you gained from this experience that can be applied to other therapeutic settings? Sorry.
Yeah. Well, when I was in Virginia, I worked in juvenile corrections with juvenile sex offenders, and learned that unless certain things were confronted, like young men would be in group together and they would confront somebody about something they said not being true, and as a therapist, I had a co-therapist there. Her name is Dashin Amin. And she's a Muslim, and we just got along great. But in one of the sessions, I found out that, look, you know what? She was having to play the heavy because I didn't want to confront people at that point in time. And so she talked to me about it, and I said, you know what? You're right. Rather than get defensive about it or whatever it is, I said, you're right. I need to be able to do this more. And I did not like confrontation. So I learned how to confront things in a positive way. Yeah. And just get to the root of issues during that time. And I think that's one of the biggest things that came out of that time doing sex offender treatment in Virginia. And the good thing about that program was the young men that completed that program, it's in Richmond, Virginia, the ones who completed the program, but something like 90% of them did not reoffend. Nice. As compared to adults, it was maybe 25% at the most that didn't reoffend. So to get them at an early age and be able to introduce things into their life was, what are their triggers? What are the things that set them off? What are, like you said, the things that made them do what they do? And learning what those were.
Yeah. It's for the 2-3 year period. I was getting a lot of people coming to see me. They have to register, and between me and my partner, and so we had to make sure things are up and up. Um, and it would always just approving or confirming things that they put on paper.
Right.
It always led to another conversation, similar to where not therapy, but just kind of allowing that person to vent. And so it kind of, is it part of my job? I always said yeah, because that piece of paper is not just something that I'm doing this. If someone opens the door to another part of their life, I actually have to, as a police officer, I have to help out and assist.
Right.
Serve and protect, as the old motto is. And so I would get into those conversations, and the one thing I always wanted is, didn't mind if they vented. Others may have judged, and I just wasn't about that. Maybe that time that they're venting is the turnaround time.
Yeah.
Where it goes for the better. But I'm glad your colleague kind of caught that.
Yeah.
Because you guys were your partners, right?
Right.
And so a good partner would mention those things, and just like you probably, no doubt, mention something to her that maybe she should kind of up it a little bit,
Yeah.
So
and she was very good at it, and she had been doing it longer than I had, dealing with sex offenders. Some people used to have to say, well, how do you know a sex offender is lying? And they'd say, oh, because his lips are moving. And they used to have that kind of, but the reality was that sometimes they were just covering their tracks as they go.
Yeah.
But people tend to, how can you work with somebody like that and everything else? Well, when you see that 90% did not reoffend, then it became something like, well, I'm helping the victims by helping the offender.
Yeah.
So and I think that that's what made me able to do it as long as I did, because it was quite the environment. And one of the gifts, like you talked about with poetry and everything else, one of the gifts God gave was, for me, was discernment, to see below the surface of the matter. And I think that was one of the things that happens, even in marriage counseling. I mean, I know of one person that had a whole separate life from his wife, another family and everything.
Yeah.
And God kind of revealed to me that this man was offended as a child, and he was trying to prove his manhood.
Yeah.
But as I spoke that to him, he just broke down in tears and began to just say, yes, this is what happened. But I'd had no way of knowing that. But I really believe God had a way of just revealing something like that to me. And when that happens, people say, well, do you know everything about me? No, I don't. God let me know one thing about you that could be a key to your getting out of the place you're in and getting to another level. So that was something else that kind of came out of counseling for all those years.
With all that, I could imagine you could write another book.
Yeah.
Well, in your life, you can write several books, and with several different stories, several different subject matters and issues, and so that's great. Stories, the stories of the past are always teacher moments, and the reason why I say that is because what you experience, and now having a conversation with another person, you can use that like we're doing right now.
Right.
And it becomes a teaching moment. And could end up being a moment where someone opens up.
True.
And then now it is so. I love it.
One of the things that's a factor in that is fear. because somebody will not open up because they feel like sometimes if I open that can of worms, I'll never be able to get everything back in.
I agree. I agree.
And the reality is that they need to be able to confront some issues and to be able to move past where they are and recognize, okay, for example, a person that was victimized sexually or whatever, to recognize that they're not guilty, that it wasn't their fault.
Yes.
And that it doesn't make them any less of a person than anyone else. And so that type of a thing for me is really important, is to be able to say, to repair the damage that was done by something when they were in a very innocent phase of life. And to be able to just say, you're not less than. Yeah. And it wasn't your fault. You didn't do anything to bring this upon yourself or anything like that. And I think that those key things are things sometimes people need to hear.
Yeah.
And hopefully somebody even that's listening today can relate to that.
Knowing my audience, there is definitely some people out there that need to hear something like that. I'm going to skip number 4 for a second.
Okay.
I want to talk to you about, and this would kind of help me out with my podcast that I have on Wednesday. And it's sometimes you have to lose yourself podcast. And the reason why the podcast was started is the co-host Marvin Speller. I call him Coach. Coach had lost his dear wife that we both know, Christian Speller.
Too soon.
And so he wanted to talk about love and grief, love and grieving, and how they're, they go together because you're grieving so hard and so heartbreaking because of the person you loved, that you lost, you love them. Speaking to anybody that's going through something that they're grieving a loved one, as a spiritual man, pastor, how could you work with them?
Well, for me, a big part of it is recognizing that even Jesus wept. He wept over Lazarus dying, even though he was going to raise him up. But the thing about it is when I look at someone that's grieving, people will tell you things that aren't necessarily true because everybody's grief process is different.
Yes.
And it doesn't necessarily go through the cycles of grief the way everybody thinks. Okay, you're going to be angry and you're going to resent, and then you're going to bargain, and then all of these different things that you're going to, it's not necessarily going to go in that order.
Yes.
And I think that's giving yourself permission to grieve. Sometimes we're so busy being strong for everybody else that we don't give ourselves permission to really grieve and to recognize, okay, no, I am hurting because of this. But knowing that somehow something positive is going to come out of this. I don't know what, but that person, especially when you're married, two of you have become one. So you carry that person with you for the rest of your life.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the key things that others may not understand, or well, why are you still upset? Why are you still crying? It's been a couple of years, or it's been a year, or it's been, they have no idea of the bond that you have or what you've been going through. And the reality is that often we do feel cheated. We can feel upset. We can feel angry. But that's okay to have all of those feelings, And I think that sometimes things happen that we don't understand, or why do bad things happen to good people, and things like that. We don't always understand. And I really don't believe we'll fully understand till we're on the other side of this life.
I agree.
It's one of those things. But giving yourself a chance.
Mm.
Even writing a letter, maybe a mother or father that passed on, that writing a letter to that person, and just maybe even going to a gravesite and reading it to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it can be so therapeutic.
Yes.
As far as getting all of those feelings out and being able to say, you know, I know you're not here to defend yourself. It was something they needed to do, but I just wanted to say these things. Because I think one of the things I just saw on your podcast is that we got to give flowers to people, you know, while we can, while they're still with us.
Yes.
And sometimes we don't get to.
Mm-hmm.
So the best and closest thing you can get is going to that gravesite and sharing a letter, or that you don't have to share with anybody else. Just between you and that person and God, you're sharing something, can be a very helpful part of grieving.
Good advice. I love that. Yeah, perfect. I'm gonna have to clip that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Question 4. It's 7:47, so this will probably be the last question before my routine question I have for you. You had a long career in both secular and pastoral roles. How do you think your experience as a pastor has influenced your approach to therapy and vice versa?
I think it's influenced it a lot in the sense of when you're in a pastoral role, you know, you're dealing with people on a different level. You know, for example, one of the things that happened was as a pastor, a lot of times people are coming to you with needs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, okay, I can't pay the electric bill. I can't do this. I don't have food in my house, or whatever it is. And it forced me, you know, to recognize, okay, this time I'm going to help you, but this is not my money. This is God's money. So the second time the same issue comes up, I got to begin to look at, well, what is causing you to be living above your means at this point?
Yeah, I agree.
You know, what is causing you at this point in time to spend more than you're making? And if I help you now by giving you more money, all I'm doing is enabling you at that point in time. Yeah. You know, that sometimes it's like we have to learn to the hard knocks of life sometimes.
Yes.
You know, and if I keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect different results, what do they say? That's the definition of insanity, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think that that's kind of the thing for me, is just to recognize, as much as I want to help, I can't work harder at you getting help than you're willing to work for yourself.
I agree.
You know, that's one of the big things I think that came out of it. But I think just knowing when to push and when not to.
I agree. You can't help yourself, you know, especially when you get assistance to overcome what's bothering you, what's hindering you, and someone shows you what you need to do, offer some advice, good budgeting so your bills will stay on, so on and so forth. It's so that second time, third time that it comes, you should be able to get over the hump on your own. Let's see. Let me read this here. I remember when you first started preaching at the Nazarene, I could tell you that you were delivered at the time. I was blessed again to see you, my first cousin, Roy Victor, do the same thing. And I was listening. It's so true, because Roy is another one that captivating.
Good friend, good brother.
Truly, truly, you know, some people can talk to you and excuse my French, but you could say that they're full of,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then there's others like you, Roy, that can sit in front of you and say, yes, I believe it, like instantly, like boom, I believe it. And that's truly, you know, most of the battle is to get that initial push, you know, or confidence in someone. And you guys would definitely have that confidence. There's some other people, um, so-called leaders that I can't believe them and haven't believed them since I was a kid. Only because I just don't have that confidence that they are being true to their word, or there's a game behind the game, you know.
Right.
So, but yeah, Nathan, thank you. Did you see Nathan's podcast?
No, I didn't get to see it.
Oh, you should see it.
I definitely will have to look.
You want some? Go to the first one. They're both great.
I remember him just sharing, especially after his experience with his, heart and heart, the issues and coming face to face with eternity and all of that type of a thing. It's reshaped who he is as a person.
So true.
He's got so much to bring to the table, and like you said, he's ahead of his time, because of what he's had to deal with that a lot of other people haven't had to deal with, and I recognize that.
Yeah, I enjoy every moment, every laughing moment, every serious moment, every harsh moment that myself and Nathan have talked about. And I truly, truly enjoy all of it. The laughter is just, that's almost obvious when it comes to the Victor name, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna get some laughter and joke and some capping on each other, and I appreciate it. So,
but that's what's so good about it.
Yeah. Well, being my guest, and one of the things I ask all my guests during the show is, who would you like to see on the Really Charlie podcast?
Let's see. First thing came up to mind was actually Pastor Marco DeBarros, and because he's a dynamic person that's not looking to build himself up, but to build people up and to build up the community.
Yeah.
And I think he's been misjudged in some way.
Yeah.
That, you got this big church, or you got this and that. When he'll tell you quickly, it's not about me, it's about helping people spiritually.
Yes.
And I think that's the kind of person that he brings a lot to the table. Matter of fact, quick commercial, he's going to be doing community outreach at Hazelwood Park this Saturday. And just with a lot of giveaways, a lot of it's a different thing than a regular service. Maybe rap music, different things like that happen. And because he's truly invested in the city and the veteran.
Yeah. Remember day one, starting, and truly can say that he's definitely improved what's around him. I think I will reach out to him very shortly, because I think this time in the city is very, very important right now. So I definitely want to reach out to him, and I'm going to do that.
The cultural diversity that's happening in that church, it doesn't happen all over the world. I mean, I'm talking about every kind of nationality, race, etc. in that church. Does not happen that often.
So true.
When that happens, it gets my attention to recognize, okay, God is doing something special.
Yeah, and especially the community he's in. You could probably get just a certain part of life, or people, just in that area, and but they're coming from all over, and you see it. So I'm definitely going to reach out to him. I'll let this weekend go by, because I think between all of us, we're all going to be busy on that particular day.
Sure.
But as soon as Monday, Tuesday, I'll reach out to him and see if we can lock down the day and schedule.
I'll mention it to him too,
Yeah.
in case he didn't hear the podcast.
Yeah. So that's the New Life Church, Cove Road, New Bedford, Mass. It's the old plaza there, right behind Inner Bay. Go see Pastor Marco and reap the benefits of being around a great congregation. Let's see. All right. Let's see. I'll also add this podcast to Spotify.
Yeah.
And that way we'll have it. You know what? We got 3 minutes. Let's give you another question. All right. Because your input this is perfect. Number 5, you and your wife, Analina, co-facilitate marriage seminar. What do you believe are some of the essential elements for a healthy and fulfilling marriage? And how do you help couples cultivate those elements?
Well, I don't believe in reinventing the wheel, so we incorporate a lot of books into what we're teaching people, and so that they can refer to it later on. There's a book called Communication in Marriage. It's not written by any therapist, but it's probably one of the best books on communication that I had ever read. And I think, when people learn to really communicate, even about the tough issues, that's where the real work in marriage comes in. And sort of tying into something I said earlier, is also recognizing, okay, I may have my dreams, and if I make my spouse put all of her dreams, on the back burner, it's eventually going to come up. And I've seen that happen in marriages of 20, 25 years, where all of a sudden she wasn't feeling fulfilled. I was the martyr of the family. I gave up my whole plan, my whole life for the sake of you and the kids. And the reality is that one of the best things that could have happened to me was when I got to be able to give back to my wife when she wanted to become an RN, was to be able to support and take care of the family and take care of chores around the house that she normally was doing and everything else, and to see how much she actually really did. And
appreciation.
It gave me the chance to recognize how much nurses really bring to the profession as well. I have so much more respect for nurses after seeing what she had to do to become one.
Very, very hard. And let's see. It's Bailey Burke. Love this lady. Please provide a link for your book as a current pastor. And what's it say here? Current pastor and retreat facilitator. I would love to read it. Okay. I'm gonna look for it right now. Okay.
It's on Amazon right now.
Yeah.
But it's more as a workbook right now.
Yeah.
My original book, I have to have it reproduced because the original publisher is not available at this point in time. But there is a Jonah Project on Amazon.
Yeah. Look at that. We're already appearing on Google already.
That's it right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the workbook form of it.
Yeah.
Which is what it was originally intended to be, was a workbook. So you could put some self-help into it.
Yeah. Let's go back to the studio, and I'm gonna add it right to these comments so everyone. It's Bailey Burke. Could I have it?
I appreciate that. I appreciate the question.
Yeah, great person.
I
She's
think-
actually got something coming up with a 5K in October,
wow.
so we're going to talk about that. I don't want to, but it's about.
I will tell everyone though that the workbook did not, for some reason, it got edited out, the table of contents.
Mhm.
So it's not as complete as I wanted it to be at this point in time, but it does have all of the content of the book. It just is missing the table of contents. So you kind of got to follow it one step at a time.
Yeah, and it's pretty decent, material. And you can put this picture up for Halloween.
Yeah.
Only joking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely all right. Oh, there we go. My man, look at this. All American from Fairhaven. Doing Derek. It's is amazing dude. Talk about a life, that he's overcome and what he's become. You were definitely inspirational. He's been on the podcast with his brother, two great athletes that I truly admire and enjoyed watching
Awesome.
as we all grew up. Yeah. There we go. Got a comment for you. Brother Rob, good to see you. Awesome. So
Good to see you as well.
yeah, he's good, great family, comes from a great family tree, and glad he's watching us on YouTube. All right, family, we can definitely, you already, just the conversation that we had was, I've learned a lot. You also have now added to the podcast by giving me another guest. It's going to be inspirational again, just like you were. And but this is part one. You can use this podcast for anything that you possibly want. You want to set up a podcast with someone else, and I could just be in the back producing it for you, and we can do that too.
Sure.
The Really Charlie podcast is definitely something that's yours just as much as mine. So if you want to do something, and we got the platform, and all you got to do is shave and get a haircut, and that's it. And we'll take care of the rest for you.
Well, I appreciate it, and I appreciate being a guest and all of the success that God has given you, that you are still as humble as ever and always someone with an open and a big heart for people. So I just want to say how much I appreciate you.
Comes from guys like you that really, I love you.
Love you
so
too,
much.
Yes.
I've been in my family for a long time, and it's great. So everyone, thank you for joining us on the Really Charlie podcast with my guest Robert Mendes, and we took him away from his beautiful wife long enough, and we got to bring him back and let him enjoy her. So thank you. And like I said, we're here on every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Spotify, which I add to the after the show. Feel free to email me, get in touch with me at the Really Charlie podcast at gmail.com. If you want a guest to come on, just reach out, and I would definitely get in touch with that person. I want to do a show every single week to stay consistent, and I don't, even if I come on here by myself, I'm at least going to be on here for 30 minutes to an hour. But I want to make sure that you guys know, that you know, as an audience, that I will be on every single Tuesday. All right. So take care, and We'll be on Sometimes You Gotta Lose Yourself podcast tomorrow night with Marvin Spella at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And we're going to talk about his book and a few other things, but we mainly focus on grief. And if you have a story and you want to talk about it, please join us tomorrow night. All right, everyone. Thank you. God bless. And I appreciate you.